If you could help ease the divisions in America, would you do it? I think a lot of people would initially answer, yes, of course. Most people are good. I think most Americans are very good people. They want to be good. Our disagreements aren't causing the divisions in our country. What we do when we disagree. Do we treat the others with dignity, or do we treat them with contempt? The first brings us together. The second drives us apart. Our disagreements aren't causing the division in our country. Isn't a disagreement, by definition, a division? I look at this website and this Dignity Index movement, and to me, all that it rings is a wolf in sheep's clothing. What is a wolf in sheep's clothing? Well, a ravenous wolf, right? Something that wants to eat the sheep. It wants to destroy the sheep. And I think most people are very clearly aware that there is an evil that is trying to destroy the freedom of all the world. And where that evil is coming from or who it is what they would try to claim that they're trying to stop, right? Like let's stop and let's be nicer. Let's remove the evil from ourselves. And I can agree with that part of the message, right? We do need to remove the evil from ourselves. We need to be better people. We should be focusing on just being a good moral character standing people. But the way that they're trying to go about this, as Jesus said, we shall know them by their fruits. So let's look into the fruits, or at least what the initial fruits of this Dignity Index. And again, I hate the premise of the question, because if you could ease the divisions in America, would you do it? Well, it depends, right? If you're saying that the only way to remove the division is join the other side, well, no, I can't join the other side. I have my principles, I have my beliefs, I have my moral character, and I would love to discuss with the other side, find out where I'm wrong, find out where they're wrong, and let's come together, like in sing kumbaya, right? That is something that I do desire. I do wish that everyone was seeking actual truth and that we could have conversations, that we could have hard conversations, that we could debate, that we could come together. I'm old enough to remember years ago, I would say this. I would say the left and the right, we all want the same thing. It's just how we get there is different, right? It used to be that, we all want to take care of the poor. It's just the right believes that the government shouldn't be doing it, that we should be doing it of our own free will and choice. And generally the left was arguing, no, we need the state to take care of these people, because not everyone is going to have someone who's going to donate to these people. And, there's a lot of individuals that are like, hey, maybe we can have a middle ground. And maybe we could, I don't know. But regardless, we still wanted the same thing. Well, at this point, there is such a divide that we don't want the same thing. That's kind of the problem. The right is asking for no more murdering of babies, as they like to say. And the left is asking for complete control of women's bodies, as they like to say. Those are at odds because, depending on who you ask, they probably aren't at odds, right? The left's going to be like, no, they're not at odds. The right will be like, no, it's not at odds because of X reason or whatever. But the point is they are at odds. There's two different belief structured systems here. The left believes that it is okay to have gender affirming care for children. The right generally believes it's not okay to have gender affirming care for children. The left, this is one of my favorite. I've seen these accusations, or these, not accusations, they're trying to make fun of the other side. I've seen people on the left be like, oh, you're still a virgin. And the right's like, yeah, that was the point. Not married. And then the right will go to the left and be like, oh, your wife sleeps around with other dudes. And someone on the left will be like, yeah, that was the point. Right? Like, we're at this point where there is such a bifurcation, where there's such a divide that we don't even want the same things anymore. And so there does have to be a conversation. And at least that's what the Dignity Index is claiming that they're trying to do, is we need to have more conversation. Let's just do it from a better standpoint. Again, that's what they're saying on the surface, but let's look into it a little bit more. So we'll go here. Well, first and foremost, actually, before I go to the index itself, well, actually, I probably should. Let's go to the index because it has the paragraph. Let's read this. The Dignity Index scores distinct phrases along an 8-point scale from contempt to dignity. Lower scores of 1 to 4 reflect divisive language, while higher scores, 5 through 8, reflect language grounded in dignity. In its pilot season, a trained group of students supported by the University of Utah's Kem C. Gardner Policy Institute and the Hinckley Institute of Politics scored selections from candidates, speeches, debates, fundraising, outreach, social media posts, and campaign ads in Utah's federal congressional races. By focusing on the speech and not the speaker, the Dignity Index is designed to draw our attention away from the biases of partisan politics and toward the power we each have to heal our country and each other. All right, here's the deal. They claim they're trying to focus on the speech and not the speaker. But isn't it funny that on this main page, if I zoom out here, on the main page, what are they doing here? Kind of looks like they're rating people, rating the speaker, not the speeches themselves. You know, it would have been better if they would have just said, like, here's a speech by this person. Like, it would have been better to show a person and then like a list of speeches and then their number for the speech, maybe. I don't know. But right now they're like, haha, you're a 6, you're a 5, you're a 7. I don't know. Kind of counterintuitive to me. All right, so let's go down here. Level 1 is it escalates from violent words to violent actions. It's a combination of feeling the other side is less than human and calling for or approving violence. So I'm kind of confused. It says it escalates from violent words to violent actions. So are you saying it's no longer judging speech? Like that's kind of where I'm getting confusing. Are you saying that a 1 is only reserved for people who move outside of speech and move into action? Or are you saying that their speech is moving, is calls for violent action maybe? And again, what are violent words? Like a violent word, murder is a violent word. Are you saying I can't say murder? Or if I say murder that I get a level 1 because I use the word murder? Like there's no such thing. Like words are not violence because violence is a physical thing, but there are such thing as violent words. But again, murder is a violent word. Stabbing is a violent word. Am I not allowed to use those words? And are you saying it only appears in the context of the conversation? Because context does obviously matter, but I don't know if you're being that clear. The subtext, they're not even human. It's our moral duty to destroy them before they destroy us. Well, I'm going to put it this way. Approving violence. I think most people will agree, thou shalt not kill. And I would agree. Generally speaking, I think a lot of people will make the argument it's not kill, it's murder, blah, 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 all of that. Regardless, generally speaking, we shouldn't kill. And I would also argue, I think for the most part, God would prefer that we don't, I need to say this in a better way. God would rather us willingly lay down our lives on his behalf than have to kill somebody else. But I think he allows for and will justify you in the killing of someone in self-defense. But I don't think necessarily that is his desire. If someone's going to commit evil, they're going to commit the evil. Now, I'm not arguing that you shouldn't defend yourself even unto the killing of someone else. Again, self-defense. It's there, but I think God would rather us have a higher way of living. And if someone was to kill us, we could lay down our lives willingly, especially if it's in his case. But there is a time for approved violence. The police, I approve of violence from our government for certain actions that are caused by individuals. And I think that the government should come down in full force, which is a form of violence, against anyone who breaks these laws of this land. So I approve for violence. Do I get a 1? Number 2, level 2 accuses the other side not just of doing bad or being bad, but promoting evil. So are you saying I'm not supposed to call out someone who is promoting evil? Let's read the subtext. Those people are evil and they're going to ruin everything if we let them. It's us or them. Okay, if there are people that are literally evil and they are literally trying to ruin everything, and some people have said they are. I'm not saying left or right or any of those arguments right now. I'm saying there are literal people who are evil and they are trying to ruin everything. They say they're evil. They say they're trying to ruin everything. And I'm not supposed to call them out. Also, I'm pretty sure Jesus said that we were supposed to call out people who are promoting evil. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to stick with you guys on this one. Level 3 attacks the other side's moral character, not just their capabilities or competence. Why do I need to stop at their capabilities or competence? If someone is morally deficient, shouldn't that be called out? Shouldn't people know, especially if they're following that individual, that that person is morally corrupt or does not have a good moral character? Their subtext: we're the good people, they're the bad people. Now, I can agree with this last part where they say it's us or them. Like, yeah, generally we should not demonize a side or a group or a people, but there are such things as demons. Whether you want to believe in that figuratively or literally, there are such things as demons. There are people who are committing evil acts. They need to be called out, especially if they're promoting evil. Like, isn't it interesting that they're trying to censor your speech? I don't know. I think so. Level 4 mocks and attacks the other side's background, their beliefs, their commitment, their competence, their performance. I can't think of a good example of background right now. Like, I understand that background can apply, and I would like to see forgiveness for people's backgrounds from time to time. But their beliefs, isn't that the point, is to attack the other person's beliefs? And maybe it's just because of the way you're using the word attack, and sometimes there is a place for mockery. Their competence. Yeah, if someone's not competent, that should be called out. Yes, they do not have the competence to be able to do this thing. That is why you should not trust them. Or their performance. Yes, we shall know them by their fruits. Look at the performance that they are doing. I need to call that out. So here we go, the subtext. We're better than those people. They don't really belong. They're not one of us. So again, my problem is they'll give this subjective phrase as the way of what the level is, right? Level 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the subjective phrase of what we think it is, which is outright on its face wrong. Then when you read the subtext, it's like, well, yeah, in that subtext it makes sense. But here's the deal. The rules themselves that they have established are just wrong on their face, but then with the added context, then it matters. And that's where they're getting you. This is a trick. This is the trick that the woke left does use, and this is Utah buying into it from a right-wing perspective, right? Governor Cox has been pushing this with his whole disagree better initiative movement that he's doing. He's wanting to partner with this Dignity Index to help people disagree better. Let's be better. He's going to be having a conversation with the governor of Colorado, I guess. But it is a guise. It is a forked tongue. It is double speak. It is a way of getting regular people to look at it superficially and say, wow, that sounds like a good idea. Because, on its surface, it is a good idea. We should not be demonizing other humans unless they're actual demons. And we should be working on with them. So the 5, I'm going to go through this quick because it's the good side, but here we go. Listen to the other side's point of view and respectfully explain their own goals, views, and plans. Okay, sure. Like, wow, you have the ability to recognize other people's perspective. Good for you. Level 6, sees it as a welcome duty to work with other side to find common ground and act on it. Now, see how this is like other side? I'm pretty sure they weren't, okay, this one's other side, but... So yeah, they're using other side every time, which is where I think they're actually trying to get it, is the other side is less than human, right? I agree from a generalization standpoint that, yeah, the other side, again, I think the majority of Democrats, the majority of Republicans, as regular people that aren't that involved in politics, are good people. I genuinely do. But there are the leaders, and generally speaking, when people say the other side, they're generally referring to the prominent leaders, the prominent speakers. And I think that is a problem in the way that we communicate, right? People will be like, ooh, I hate Iran. And most people, when they say that, they're saying their government. Or a lot of other countries will say, we hate America. And most of the time, they're referring to the government, not necessarily the people, right? This is, or people will be like the Jews. And most of the time, they mean bad Jews that are doing evil things. And they're not necessarily talking about all Jews. Now, some people do mean all Jews. Some people do mean everyone from Iran. And some people really do mean everyone from America. But my point is, generally speaking, and this is a problem with the way that we speak, and I could agree that there is a way that we need to find to improve and speak better. But regardless, there is this, we need to find a way to not necessarily come together, because I don't want to come together with Satan. and some beliefs are evil. So I want to come together with the good and the good of the Democrats and the good of the Republicans. I want us to come together. I want us to be on the same side and root out the evil of the far fringe extremities of the two sides. Let's come together with our independent friends and let's build America the way that it was meant to be. I'm okay with that message, but right now there are some leaders on both sides, and I would argue right now the side on the left has some of the leaders who have been celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. There have been individuals on the left celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk and mocking it, and have been advocating by putting out lists. We all know what those lists mean, of other individuals on the right. That is evil, and that needs to be called out. And if the left side isn't calling it out, then they are the banality of evil, and that needs to be called out. Now, there is some banality of evil on the right, and I think the biggest area on the right that is the banality of evil is them not doing anything to stand up and fight this. That is their responsibility right now, is to stand up and fight. And I don't mean literally, I mean with the words and not with actions. So here we go. Level 7 wants to fully engage the other side, discussing the deepest disagreements they have to see what the breakthroughs they can find, blah, blah, blah. 8, I can see myself in every human being. I refuse to hate anyone, and I offer dignity to everyone. All right, here we are. So first and foremost, Charlie Kirk is an 8, and they killed our 8. Okay? That is the problem. That individual committed a very evil act, and individuals from his side, the left, have been celebrating it. I'm not saying everyone, but there has been celebration. That is evil, and that needs to be called out. They are a them. The us can include individuals from left, right, or center. But there is evil among us, and we need to call it out. And this is trying to censor our speech in how we call people out and how we do it. And I think that's wrong. So here's the deal. Is this the mark of the beast? Well, I think in and of itself, it's not the mark of the beast, but let's add it to something else here. Let's see. This is gagework.com. Gage is the workforce community for the ones who do the work. So again, it's on the face, it's the sheep, okay? They're pretending that they're for the people who are actually doing the work. We're for these individuals. We want to help them. But how are they doing it? Let's click on this little button. Let's see. Okay, so here's this construction worker. He's got a score of 500. She looks like, I would guess, a caterer. She's got a 720. Don't know what he is. He's outside, though. 800. Wow, that guy's good. Okay, she's a cashier, it looks like. 456. Ooh, she's improving. She's not quite there yet. Okay, woodworker of some sort, 580. Okay, he's great, it says. Okay, 624, another great guy. Here's the deal. Here's a score for when you go to work. Here's a score for when you talk in public. And here's a score, credit scores, when you purchase things. So if we add all those up, kind of sounds like a social credit score from China, doesn't it? Kind of sounds pretty evil. Kind of sounds like if I want to control your actions, well, it's kind of easy because I could just lower your score. Here's the deal. Who's the people that are giving the scores to these individuals? It's probably going to be their managers, HR, different groups. Now, they're probably going to claim that they have ways around manipulation and bad tactics, but here's the deal, okay? If your employer wants you to do something that you are uncomfortable doing, I'll just give you a lesser score. I mean, you can't leave. You got a horrible score. You're improving, right? And basically, everyone's agreed that they're no longer going to hire anyone under a 500. And let's see, you're at a 498. Maybe if you do this action, I'll bump it up for you, and then you can quit and you can leave and go get a new job. Or, hey, I'd love that sexual favor. I'm going to have to lower your score, right? This can be manipulated. It is evil. Scores of human beings is evil. I even think credit scores are evil. And here's the deal. We grew up with it. It's been normalized. And so a lot of individuals look at the credit score and they're like, well, yeah, you got to have some way to recognize who's a good or who's a bad individual when it comes to credit scores. Sure. But I don't think a point system is the best way to go about it. I think there's better ways to do it. But again, if you add all these up, what happens? Well, control. So let's read here. This is the scriptures, Revelations 13. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. Now, I think that the image of the beast, I think the mark of the beast is more symbolic, like the seal on the forehead of the 144,000. I think it's more of a symbolic meaning. There hasn't been anything called out exactly of what the mark of the beast is. Everyone's going to have their own reason as to what they believe the mark of the beast is. I'm not actually claiming this is the mark of the beast, but I'm saying this could be used in a very fashion of the mark of the beast. It is evil. It is wrong. It is going to lead to the censorship of speech, and they're going to be able to censor individuals whose speech they disagree with so that they get to win. It's going to push whatever their motive is. Now, their claim is that their motive is that we need to have better speech. We need to be able to come together. It is divisive in and of itself. If I keep telling you that you're a number one and you keep getting ones and twos and threes, no, you're creating the divide yourself. This does not in any way create a way for us to come together and to work together. Okay, the Constitution was created for a moral, religious community, society, whatever the saying is, virtuous. I don't remember. I think it was Thomas Jefferson, right? The Constitution was created for that people because we all agreed on being of having a good moral character, of being morally good. Now, morally good has become subjective. There's been the removal of God. There's been all these evil attacks, and the battle between Satan and Christ is continue and it is ongoing to this day. And this is more of a divisive tool than anything else. Okay, this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is trying to trick the regular Utahns to say, hey, we need to be better. Let's be better. How about I give you a score? I'm going to score you to prove that you're better, right? No, that's evil. So here we go. I'm going to end with this, okay? Are you aware of the Dignity Index? Yes or no, please. This goes into long explanations. We don't need that. Great. What score would Jesus get? Ready? If we're applying the digital dignity index, which scores speech from 1 dehumanizing to 8 fully dignified based on how it treats opponents, then Jesus is hard to pin down with a single number, but let's break it down honestly. Jesus and his most dignified score. Turn the other cheek. Love your enemies. Do good to those that hate you. Some 3 to 4s. You brood of vipers, whitewashed tombs, sons of hell. That sounds very demonizing to me. To be honest, I think this isn't a 3 or 4. This is like a 2 right here. Sons of hell. At one point, he calls individuals the devil. You know, I asked ChatGPT before of, let's see if I can find it, before this video. It's not showing, dang. Okay, I can't find it. But at one point, it actually even gave some ones here. So are there any examples of 1 or 2s? Oh my goodness. Fingers are going haywire. There we go. Yes, but not from Jesus. The dignity index 1 or 2 levels are reserved for speech that dehumanizes, justifies harm, or calls for exclusion or violence. Now, to be fair, I don't think Jesus has ever actually called for violence, again, unless it is in self-defense or whatever. If you read the Bible, you're very aware that Jesus did actually call for violence. He sent his people to war many times, even to what people would call a genocide. So that's something that probably should be discussed. But a 1, sure. I don't think Jesus ever in any of his speeches actually gave a 1. A 2, though, let's go back. What's a 2? All right, let's go back to the index. A 2. Level 2 accuses the other side of not just doing bad or being bad, but promoting evil. Okay. So the chief priest and the elders of the priests assembled and they schemed, to arrest Jesus. Yes. Okay. So didn't Jesus accuse the Pharisees of being children of the devil. Yes, he did. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. From a dignity index perspective, this is interesting because it's not exactly a level 1 or 2 dehumanizing in the way calling for murder or genocide is. Here's why. So, oh my gosh, it's being ridiculous. Again, I asked it before I did this video. I don't have it though, and it was actually saying these were 2s. Level 2 accuses. Is not this Jesus calling them promoters of evil? Yes, you're right. If we stick strictly to the dignity, see, and that's my point. It's very subjective. It says if we stick strictly, okay, they have strict rules. You could turn anything you wanted into and say you're dehumanizing someone. That's the point. And here's the deal. I'm going to stick with Jesus on this one. If Jesus said it's okay to sometimes use 2, 3, or 4, well, then it's probably okay for me to use 2, 3, or 4. Now, I don't think it's okay to call for violence. I don't think it's okay to demonize a group of people. I think you have to demonize. You can demonize the individual if the individual is doing demonic things. That needs to be called out. We need to call out evil. And what does it mean to turn the other cheek? Okay, I want to end on that actually. What does it mean to turn the other cheek? If I get hit by someone in the face and I offer them my other cheek, what does that mean? It means I'm still standing there. It means I'm not being a pacifist. I'm not backing down. I am standing my ground and I am asserting with boldness and with the authority of Jesus the truth. Okay, I am standing there. You can hit me with the other hand. Go ahead. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but turn the other cheek was in direct relation to the laws of Roman history. In Roman history, the Roman laws, I was allowed to backhand people, slaves, inferiors, and at this time, the Jews were captives. So if the Jew acted out in a way that a Roman soldier didn't like, they were legally allowed to backhand you. Bam, slap you at the back of your hand and hit you on the cheek. Now, generally speaking, most groups of people wouldn't use their left hand to perform acts for whatever reason, considered disgusting or just immoral or for whatever reason. So when you offered the other cheek, when I backhanded slapped you, that was me saying you're inferior to me. If I offered the other cheek, well, now I got to slap you palm. Here's the other cheek. Slap this one. That's an open palmed slap. That was reserved for equals, per se, right? Now, equal from the stance of another soldier. You wouldn't backhand another soldier, but you might palm slap a soldier if they committed some wrong. So it was a way of defiantly saying, I am equal with you and you will show me the dignity I deserve. Okay. So when people say that Jesus, when people say this dignity thing is not good. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is masquerade as good. It is not good. I'm going to leave it there. This one's a little longer. Go ahead and like this video. Subscribe. You can find me on X, Rumble, and YouTube, Reese J. Crockett, or Reese Crockett if you just search that. Please leave a comment. I would love to hear any feedback. Tell me why I'm wrong. And if you disagree with me, you can disagree with me on X. I'd love to debate there. If you know anybody, share this video. Share it with those you hate. Share it with those you love. Let everyone know what's going on. And until next time.